Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to be here with you, and Alex Leanne is as well. We are back for another week. This week is going to be an amazing episode. They all are. You know that if you follow us and you're in with us.
Sure.
But we're super excited to bring you John Michael Ferrari and his producer, Pepper J. This is going to be a whole new experience for you. So we're going to dive in and hear all about their story and how it inspires you to be unleashed and unstoppable. Hi, John Michael Ferrari. It's so nice to have you.
Good afternoon. Wonderful to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. And, you know, your top single right now, I Keep Dreaming, is climbing the charts. And I would love to hear all about, how you came up with this song. Now, you're the writer of it, correct?
Correct, yes.
That's right.
Well, actually, it started off a different song I wrote a few years ago as a slow ballad. And then one day I was just experimenting, and I thought, oh, I wonder what this would sound like if I did it this way. And so I recorded it in my studio, and we liked it. So when we went to Nashville, we thought, let's lay this one down at the studio there. And it turned out, you never know how it's going to turn out. It's like when you have a baby, you don't know what it's going to grow up to be.
That's so true. So
you
true.
can turn out to be a pop rocker or what. So that's how kind of like with the song is. You never know how it's going to turn out. And it turned out pretty good. And I was surprised that Pepper wanted to use that one as the name of the album, because we could have used any of the songs on there, because we had, 11 songs?
Yes.
So you could have named it any of them,
I love this song. I'm talking to you, our listener. If you haven't heard it, I just really love this song. And I love all kinds of music. How long have you been writing?
I wrote my first lyric when I was in, I think, third or fourth grade.
Wow.
And I wrote a lyric called "Please Don't Go and Leave Me All Alone, Dear," from the music High and the Mighty. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's a John Wayne movie, and he whistles. Da, 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 da. That was my first lyric. It was that short. "Please don't go and leave me all alone, dear. Oh, no, 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 no."
I love that.
So that was my first lyric. And then, then when I was in high school, I started dabbling in lyric writing, and I wrote another song called "Wadu Wadu Wadu." If she tells you she don't love you, wadu wadu wadu, don't you believe it, because it's not true. Wadu wadu wadu. That was not a hit.
That's so great.
And then I wrote another song called "Linda" for a girl named Linda. That was not a hit. But I started writing, but I didn't take it seriously. And when I then I got involved with bands and playing cover songs. We did a lot of Beatles songs and things like that.
Wow.
Then when I went in the military, I wrote a song called "Dust Off" about the wounded soldiers. So dust off is what helicopter that comes and picks up the wounded soldiers. And that one did pretty well because I got to play the officers' clubs, and years later, became the song of several movies and things like that. Uh, but the serious songwriting took off in the early, what, 2000,
Hmm.
something like that. Because Pepper always encouraged me, but I didn't really take it seriously. And it wasn't until, well, so we had When Love Said Goodbye. When was that?
That was the mid-90s.
Mid-90s. We
Wow.
were offered $50,000 for that song.
Yeah, they should have taken it.
And Pepper said no. Smart decision,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Well, you never know, because when you start out, you don't know what's good and what's not, because you think, well, we should keep the rights, because if we sold the song, we would have lost all the rights to the song. But it could have done very well, and even if a song has a good radio play, you could live off that song for the rest of your life, even though you don't own it anymore. So we kept our $50,000, and was a few years later that I started writing seriously, and then we went to Nashville and recorded, and my God, it just took off. We started hitting the charts, and it is what it is now. My music playing all over the world.
You're
Oh,
you're a finalist. You're a USA Male finalist of the year for the best album, right? The male best album. Is that
Is that
correct?
what it is? Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
I know. That's
It's
exciting.
always amazing when these awards come up, because we had another one. Pepper said, you're up for male artist or something. And she prefaced it with this. She says, you're up, but you don't have a chance of winning. And I won. Who would have
oh,
known? Because you never know. You
That's
yeah.
just
right.
never know. And so it's a wonderful thing, and I'm very grateful. But a lot of it doesn't happen by accident. It takes a lot of people involved, and because once I write the song, it has to take on a whole new life. That's where Pepper comes in, and she's on the computer conversing with people all over the world, and making decisions and promotions and all kinds of things. So, a song just doesn't accidentally become number one or number two. It's a plan. You have to go forward with it. And that's with all of our lives. It doesn't, once in a while, something serendipitous does happen for us, but most of the time we have to work at it. We have to make a plan to get
Mhm.
where we want to go to finish that goal. And that's what it is with our songs.
Wow.
John
Well,
Michael Ferrari,
go ahead, Alex
wait,
Leanne. Yeah.
I'm really curious because you kept saying like when you actually took your writing serious, what did that look like? Like, how did that look different than when you were previously writing versus like, okay, now I'm actually being serious with my writing? I'm just really curious, was it just an internal shift or what had you kind of say to yourself, okay,
Yeah.
now let's get serious?
Well, he says one thing, I got lost. I'm lost. Okay, could you ask what say that again, the last part?
So
Yeah,
for you, you had
what
shared
were,
that like at a certain point you got serious with your writing. So what was like what shifted or how did it look different from previously when you wrote your songs versus when you're like, okay, now I'm getting serious with my writing? Like how did that differ
Yeah.
from previously to now?
well, I think we decided to go to Nashville because, I started singing cover songs many, many years ago, and that was an education, because when you start doing that, you start learning the format and structure of really good songs.
Mhm.
Because, when you listen to a song, after there's an intro, there's a verse, and second verse, and then there's a chorus. That chorus keeps playing over and over again, and you expect that in a song. So when I started songwriting, and automatically I knew structure. So I didn't know that I knew that, but I knew how to write
Mm.
songs in structure, and it wasn't that difficult. And
Mhm.
the turning point came when we decided to go to the next level. This is what a lot of people
Mm.
decide not to. You got to go to Nashville. You got to go to a good studio. You got to have a good producer. It takes that to the next level. So my songs were by itself are probably not much better than most of the songs out there, but we took it to a higher level. And by
Mm.
going to Nashville, or any other good studio like that, but we decided Nashville. And when we came out with our first song, we were amazed because they took it to a much higher level. It was the same kind of arrangement that I kind of put together, except they did it much better. The quality, the production, everything. We were competing and using the same musicians that many of the celebrities and stars use. So we were at that level. We were at the same kind of studio, same musicians. Everything was the same. We wanted to compete on a level with any star that was out there. And that's the problem with many artists, is that they take a shortcut. They go, well, I know friends that play the guitar, or I know friends that play the drums, and my friend's got a small studio. And no, it doesn't work that way. If you want to get to that level, you have to go to a major studio and participate on that level. And that was the turning point.
Wow.
The songs itself, they were good songs. See, a good song can make it if you have good structure. But if you have a really great song but bad structure, it doesn't have a chance.
That's so powerful. I mean, you mentioned so many key things there. You literally made a decision to play at another level, and then you took the action that was required to be there, rather than just sitting back and waiting, like you said, and, having a friend that played. You actually stepped into being at that level by the action steps that you took. And then knowing too that, it wasn't necessarily the music or the songs, it was having this structure, but they could have been with anybody else out there doing great music, but you were acting in a way that was being at that higher level. And I think that's so important for our listener to hear right now and to understand.
There's a saying that if you want a certain result, do what somebody else has already proven to work. Follow what they did. Find a mentor or somebody that is doing exactly what you want to do, and do what they did.
Right.
With some adjustments. Many people, they'll say, well, I'll take the shortcut. I won't, it won't cost me as much money. It's going to cost you money. If you want to get involved in that level, you're going to have to put out a little money, because the musicians, they cost, the studio cost, everything costs. So it's an investment. When you start a business, if you start a little business, a restaurant, you got to put money in. It's going to cost. Well, same thing with a musician. It's going to cost us something out of our pocket. And we can't ask friends to do it for free. You want the best that you can get. If you're going to train for the Olympics, you're going to find the best coach. It's going to cost you.
Wow.
The other thing that I'm hearing you lead into, John, Michael Ferrari, is the commitment, right? Like, you decided in advance, right? You took the necessary action to create that result, and you stayed committed to it, and you went all in. And again, that's something really important for the listener when we're looking at being unleashed and unstoppable. Like, I'm sure, and I'd love for you to maybe share maybe some obstacles or things that you experienced along the way, but you stayed committed, and now look at what results you generated by being that commitment, by being and having clarity on what the vision was and making that decision. So I am curious, like, were there any obstacles? Like, what are some things that you encountered along the way that you overcame and still stayed in that place of commitment to create the result you created?
Yeah.
Well, there's always obstacles, but like when we went to Nashville, we pretty much knew what we thought we wanted, but we were open to suggestions. And we went into the studio and we sat there with the session leader. What he does, helps arrange the songs and makes the charts for the musicians. Now, as he's doing that, he's saying, you have a really good song here, but you got to drop one of the verses. Well, I love that verse. I don't want to drop that verse. But we made a decision that we're going to go with some of this, whatever their suggestions are that they make, because they know right now better than what we did. We dropped that verse. And because of that song went all the way to #2 on the charts.
Wow. Congratulations.
So beautiful. But had we not dropped that verse, it would have not made the radio charts, because it was out of radios for a structure. So you have to compromise a little bit. And if you're unwilling to compromise, then you're putting roadblocks in your way. Those are the obstacles that you're creating yourself. So sometimes you have to compromise. Somebody wants this and you want that. You can't be all what you want. It has to be a little bit of both. And you have to know this is my goal. So I have to make that compromise, and that's all right. If that's up to, if you're willing to do that. Some people aren't willing to do that. Then they create an obstacle and they say, well, I don't know why it's not working. Well, it's not working because didn't compromise on a decision that you could have compromised. It's
Wow.
hard because it's like giving up one of your kids. Which kid do you
Yeah,
want to give up? I don't know.
it's
How
so
much can I
true.
get from this one?
I think that's where we get controlling, right? And we want to hold on to
Yes.
something because we've invested time and money and energy to it. But just that ability to let go of control and be open and flexible on the journey. Here's look at what it's opened up for you and how powerful it's been in your career. Um, I also want to mention you on this journey of working with people at another level, musicians and the studio. You're also being produced by Pepper J, who herself is very award winning, including, having been an actress and filmmaker. And what was it you were named this year, Pepper J, the music producer of the year by the Independent Music Awards? Is that right? I mean,
Yes.
congratulations on
Oh,
that. So, you know, seeing that commitment between the two of you to go all in and then having that flexibility, that's a powerful statement for me. I'll tell you right now, John Michael Ferrari, because that is hard. It is really hard to let go and be okay with being open to doing it differently.
and
It's
when we go to the studio, having a producer is very important. I mean, there's so many things going on in the studio. And I feel sorry for many musicians going there without a producer. They go, well, I don't need a producer. I would produce it
Mm.
myself. It's very difficult. There's so much, it goes so fast. You have to be so prepared because you in the studio, you don't converse with the musicians. You converse with your producer. If there's something that needs to be changed or something you want, the producer talks to the session leader. The session leader interprets that to the musicians. It has to go very fast. And if
wow.
you don't have a good producer to do that, you're going to walk out of the studio and not get what you want. And somebody has to have the last word in the studio. It's not a place where you're going to sit and debate. If she says something, then that's what we go.
Mhm.
I don't sit there and say, "Well, no, I think I want it this way." And she goes, "No, I want it this way," and you're using up time. So that's a particular thing. As an artist, I mean, you have a say, but it's not. By the time you get to the studio, you need to turn over that responsibility to
Mhm.
somebody else. Trust them, and I trust her and her decisions.
Yeah.
Whatever she says, that's how it goes. And the producer and the session leader, he may make a suggestion, and it's up to her to say yes or no to it. And then she'll turn to me. She said, "What do you think? Are you all right with that?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so. That's good." And because I always know that we can always go back and change things, but it
Mm.
costs money. So it's not
Yeah.
the end of all. I don't make it so, well, this is the final thing because I don't want to come back because it's going to cost more money. I'll come back if I think I need to, and I'll pay the extra money because I want those results.
Mm.
It's not,
Yeah.
you can't be cheap. It's going to cost you, but in the long run, it's going to pay off. So go
There's
ahead and pay.
always a price we're going to pay, right, Alex?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's two things there that you said to Michael Ferrari. One thing is that you didn't let the mechanical pieces like take charge. Like you really stayed in that intention and the vision, right?
Yeah.
And then you leaned into trust. And we've spoken, Carol and I, a lot about this. We've done some episodes previously. So recently on this about what it looks like to trust and surrender, right? What it looks like to lead with vision and intention. And your story and what you're sharing today, it really like it's just such a beautiful example of the things that Carol and I talk about on this podcast and what we stand for our listeners in your stories and what you've created is
Yeah.
such a beautiful example of this and that trust piece, right? Like, and not only trust, but that you're having other people in your corner, right? Like you're not doing this all alone and you've had a team,
Yeah.
you've got people around you supporting you, which is so important again for the listener here, right? We often say like we might hear that leadership is lonely at the top, But you're busting that myth right now by saying it doesn't happen by ourselves. We get to be surrounded by people. We get to stay in our zone, like our zone of genius in our lane, and we get to work with the other experts to support us in creating the thing, like our vision and our intention. So just really driving that home. I love it. Like I'm literally getting goosebumps as you're talking to Michael Ferrari because you are driving home so many concepts here that we're always reminding our listeners about. So thank you.
Well, like when you're in school, if you hang around with the kids that are going to go to college, you end up going to college usually. If you hang around with the kids that have no desire to go to college, you're going to end up just like them. Well, in this business, if you're going to hang around with the people who are successful and doing the things you want to do and getting the results, some of that's going to rub off on you because you're going to rise with them, and you never know who's going to become successful. And usually in Nashville, people are willing to help each other. It's a very loving town. People are competitive, but everybody supports each other. It's a songwriter's town. When you go there, your friends and people like that, they're all striving for that certain success. Well, for us, it happened for us, and we have the opportunity to turn around and help many of the other people that are still in Nashville. And it's a good feeling to be able to do that. Pepper got a call from some songwriter singer this morning who wants our help, and she stayed on the phone for over an hour talking to him and giving some suggestions. And in the final analysis, he kind of decided he wanted to do it his way. It's like again, that's putting a roadblock. If you're going to do it your way and not be open to suggestions, and what would be might work for you, then you're going to get that result. You're going to get the same result. You do it the same way that you're always doing it, you're going to get the same result. It's hard to break that habit. It's scary, and it's costly too,
It's so true. It is scary. Alex and I have experienced that in our coaching businesses where we each have hired promoters that would act in the stead of a director or a producer in a situation to help us move forward, and then not having one and trying to do it on our own and what that looks like. And it is not pretty.
And you know what? You're going to fail sometimes, but failing does not mean stopping. It means readjusting and reevaluating what you're doing. And that failure may cost you a little money, but it doesn't mean you should stop. It just means evaluate it, change some things, and go on. And it may happen a couple of times, but if you keep doing it, you're gonna get it eventually, and you're gonna learn a lot of good lessons along the way that will help other people. So you're still gonna get your goal, but it's going to cost you a few times to fail and not get it exactly right. It happens to all of us.
The first attempt in learning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because sometimes they said, well, it cost me a few $100s or a few $1,000s. I'm not going to go through that again. No, you got to go through that again, because we all do that. We all make those choices, and sometimes they're wrong. And we can't help it. We based it on the information we had. Maybe we think next time I need to get a little bit more information about what I'm doing to make a better decision. So that already helped you. If you go forward, you're going to make a better decision next time.
One of the things, do you hear this, Alex, as well? I hear you over and over operating out of a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity. You're saying, I'm willing to make the investment. You are going to make mistakes. It might have cost you, but yet you go again, because when we're in an abundant universe and an abundant world and God's with us, we know that there's always more. And we're not having to operate from the scarcity of and lack of, oh no, I can't afford that, or that will be too costly to make that investment in myself. And it's a huge part of being unleashed and unstoppable in our lives, is to know that we're surrounded with the ability to continue to walk forward and make those decisions. So I really appreciate you for bringing that out very much.
Well, if you have the challenge to do something, then it's hard not to follow that. And
Yeah.
sometimes the only reason why we don't follow is because it's going to cost me money. Of course
Yeah.
it is. That goes with any, Taylor Swift doesn't just happen to show up everywhere we look. Somebody's paying for that.
Yeah.
Somebody's making an investment. It's coming out of somebody's pocket. It just doesn't happen. So no matter what level you are, you're paying for something to get where you want to go. And if you have the talent and the persistence and the willing to be open and be flexible and change at the last moment, sometimes you may have to do that. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe I need to make this change to make it happen. And it's hard to do that sometimes.
For
Well, and I'm
sure.
hearing a lot also of you're giving yourself grace. Like you're making the best decision in that very moment. And you're taking the lesson, right? As Carol said, like first attempt at learning. And the next time, like you have more information, you have more education, you know, more people,
Yeah.
and that'll support you. And I think we see so much often with leaders and just, you know, generally that people are so hard on themselves and like, oh man, I wish I knew and I should have done this. And operate from this place. And Don Michael Ferrari, what you're really prefacing here is that it's, you know, you just get to keep moving forward and everything that you experience, you get to experience, like it's all going to happen the way that it gets to. And when you can step into that place of abundance, as Carol's sharing, and really just look at, again, it's that connection to your vision and your attention and what you're creating that keeps you moving forward. And then your brain isn't operating from this like negative place. It's really operating from a place of possibility and what gets to be created. And okay, this is the life lesson and I take it forward with me. And it's really who you are becoming in the process through your journey. And this is why I'm so excited about what you're uncovering here on this episode, because you really are driving home so many things that we lean into. It's so easy to operate from like, you know, the shoulds, the have to, the would haves, the could haves, yeah, right. Like, and the brain is wired to go that way. And right for yourself, you've set that intention. It is in your beingness, and you're really looking at, yeah, what do I get to create? And okay, so you know, I get to do this again, or maybe I get to shift, and that's okay. Like you're just constantly operating from a place of permission, a place of flexibility, a place of openness, and because of that, all these opportunities open up to you because it's not placed from a place of rigidity and control and fear. Is a place of openness and possibility and exploration and curiosity.
Mm.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Our decisions are based on usually our circumstances that we're currently in, but that's not always the best thing because you may not have any money. So your decision to do something would not be the same decision if you had the money. So you had to think about, okay, this is the decision I'm going to make because I don't have the money I need. But if I had the money, this is the decision I would make. That's the decision you should be making right there. That's telling you right there what decision you should make.
That's such a great
Don't make
point.
it on because of the scarcity. Make it on because of the abundance if you had it. And if you work from that premise, then you're going to make a better decision. And then you're going to get that goal. You're going to make it to where you want to go.
Wow.
Because you can't, if you make a bad decision, you can't carry that as baggage. You can't carry that with you as you're trying to move forward. You can't keep reminding yourself, oh, I failed over here. It cost me. You have to let go. You have to just let it go and start all over again and just kind of move on.
Well,
life lessons, right? It's the life lessons, right? It's like seeing more as life lessons versus like, oh, I made a mistake. Yeah.
Don Michael, I know you're touring right now at the Smoky Mountain tour. Is that correct?
Yeah, we just finished that. We finished the Smoky Mountain tour.
What's touring like? I mean, I know that, you know, from the people that I've talked to and heard that it really is something that requires a lot of energy. And so would you walk us through what that looked like and what your favorite parts are?
Well, my favorite part is I love meeting all the new people. You know, I have a saying, there's never a stranger in the audience. If you treat people like strangers, they are strangers. But if you treat people who are strangers like they're your best friends, they become good friends of yours and they become fans. You know, and the idea is to engage that way with almost everybody. Treat them like you're a good friend of so-and-so. When I come out on the stage, I wave to people, go, hey, how you doing? How you doing? And people ask me, how do you know all these people? I said, I don't. But,
you do now.
But I treat them like good friends. The touring is fun, is exciting, but it is difficult. This last tour on that we went on, I got really sick.
I'm sorry.
And I was in bed most of the time during the day. And
Wow.
then we'd had to get dressed and get ready for the show. And I had to come out there and I'd had to do the same thing if I was in top condition
Wow.
every night, and during the whole tour, basically, I was really, really down. And
Mm.
the only time I could get out of bed was to do the performing. But that was
Wow.
that last tour. But generally, it is exhausting. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of physical effort. I go to the gym and I work out a lot, try to build up my stamina. And I think you need to do that because you need every night to do the same show over and over again. And it's stressful because you want to be as good as you can, and some nights you're
Mm.
not as good as you could have been
Yeah.
for whatever reason, But I enjoy it. It's a
Yeah.
way uh, for us musicians to get out there and be with the people and do what we
Yeah.
do what we love doing.
Did you
And
always know you wanted to be a musician? Like I
Pardon
know you
me?
talked about writing. Well, you talked about writing your first lyric in grade 3 or 4. Did you always envision that you'd be a musician, or is that something that just kind of sort of unfolded?
Yeah, I think when I was about 8 years old, I think that I knew what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I got my first guitar and I wasn't sure how to hold it. So I was like, hold it this way, hold it this way. I don't know. So I went and looked at a picture of Elvis. I thought, however he's holding the guitar, I'm going to hold it that way. And I was left-handed. But Elvis was holding it right-handed. So I learned how to play left-handed, even though
Right.
I learned how to play it right-handed, even though I'm left-handed. But I knew at an early age that this is what I wanted to do. It was sing and perform. I had the opportunity of seeing Sammy Davis Jr. I don't know if you know who he
yeah.
is.
Mhm.
Perform, and I got to stand backstage at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe and watch him when I was very young. And I thought that's reinforced, that's what I wanted to do. Never occurred to me about songwriting, though. Songwriting is the key to get into where you want to go. Or
Wow.
somebody has to give you a good song, because if you're just covering songs, you'll only be a cover band. The
Right.
Beatles were only a cover band. The Eagles at one time were only a cover band.
Mm.
Almost everybody started out being a cover band. At some point, somebody made a decision like, I think we need to write our own songs, because when you do that, you're on a different level of the business. All of a sudden, you really have an opportunity you have an opportunity to get on the radio, have a career in that industry. But if you stay a cover band, you're just going to always be a cover band. No matter how good you are, you can sound just like Whitney Houston. You're still covering somebody else.
Yeah.
But the moment you start doing your stuff, you become an individual, and you can make it whatever you want. You don't have to try to copy anybody. You do
Wow.
it however you want to do it, and that becomes your signature. And it gives you an opportunity, because had we not done our own songs, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I'd be covering somebody else's songs. But we made that decision, or Pepper made that decision. We're going to Nashville and we're going to record these songs. That was the turning point.
Wow. Will you be producing a music video?
Pepper produced a music video in the early 90s. It's called Run, and it was exceptional video. Um, but videos today are there was a time when videos really made an impact on the industry.
Yeah.
Today, people watch a video once or twice, maybe, and then they move on. It's not like when Thriller came out, people watched it over and over and over
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
because it was something new. It's not new anymore. And
Yeah.
it used to cost, I think to make a Thriller was like $10 million
Wow.
I don't know if you could ever recoup that, but I mean, he
I'd
did. I
still
mean,
watch Thriller.
Yeah.
yeah, it's still fun to watch. Yeah. But nowadays, I mean, you can make a video with any home little camera, and it doesn't cost you anything, but it doesn't have the same impact as it used to.
Mm.
Uh, the music industry's changed quite a bit. People used to buy music at this record store, and the writers used to get a nice little percentage of that. Well, today's music, is played everywhere for free on streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So the songwriter gets very little money off the royalties. So the
Yeah.
whole industry changed quite a bit.
Carol, so if you go to johnmichaelferrari.com, there's a whole list of music videos of his songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
John Michael
actually have the
Ferrari.
website open right now. I'm looking at it.
Oh, good,
And
good. Yeah,
okay,
he has a
so
whole list of music videos there for him. One
that's
Heck of a Girl, Soldier's
Yeah,
Prayer
there's
are
music.
some of the most recent ones.
But most of these music videos, a lot of it is Pepper does it right here, and she puts it all together. We don't hire big crews now.
yeah.
For people who want to put a lot of money out on making a music video, it's probably not the best direction to invest in. There's other places you could invest your money that would give you a better return, because today a video doesn't cost that much to make, and
Yeah.
I don't think you'd want to spend a whole lot of money doing it.
I got to act in a music video last weekend with the producer Sean Roberts with AMRAC. It's an anti-bullying organization, and the purpose of
Oh,
this video was for suicide and child abuse prevention and awareness. So it was a really powerful reason, and I got to watch the process and the actors and the people in there, and knowing that you're working together with Pepper J. That was one of the reasons I asked the question, because, just looking at all of the different ways that you can amplify your visibility in your career, in addition to the all out 100% commitment that you walked us through with performing. No excuses. You're sick in the bed, you're laying in the bed, and talk about being committed and doing what you're there to do to drive forward your message, your vision, your passion. Um, I was just thinking in terms of leveraging, multiplying, amplifying everything that you're doing right now, because, these lessons are so important and powerful for us. And I don't want to miss any of them.
well,
Thank you.
thank you so much. But it's we all want to be successful,
Yeah.
and most of us want to be successful. It's a good feeling to when you achieve something, especially if you go through a lot of obstacles. I mean, you can't buy self-esteem. Only way you get it is through failing and succeeding.
Mm.
But what you surround yourself with the right people, try to make the best decisions, and put a little money out there. It's going to cost you some money. You go forward. If you have a good product, you have to be exceptional. You have to be exceptional. My songs are good, but with the production and everything, it's exceptional. And people always comment and says, I listen to your recordings, and those are top-notch produced recordings. You have to strive for that. You have to strive to be the best you can be, and sometimes even better, because being good at anything is not that impressive. Say, oh, they're really good at that. Well, you want that guy to work on your car or give brain surgery. You want somebody who's outstanding,
Yeah.
and that's what we have to be. We have to raise our level of competency to outstanding. How can we get to be that outstanding? Because when people recognize that what you're doing is outstanding, they want to be a part of it, or they want to hire you because they know that being with you, they're going to get the results they want.
Yeah, I love that. I probably should have rephrased the question too, because I love the I Keep Dreaming video. And it is one of
Oh,
those
good.
songs that, to me, because of the way the song is it leaves you feeling good, and it's a high vibration song. It's great music. It leaves a positive impact. And it's one of those that, I just enjoy listening to over and over again. So, yeah, I probably should have rephrased that question. I want to make that
Oh, yeah.
clear. It's a great video.
Thank you. Well, Pepper did the video. she does all that stuff. I used to do a lot of the editing, but Pepper does it all now.
I
I
can picture
concentrate
your hair blowing in the wind right now.
And I love writing love songs. It's always that expectation of finding the right person or something like that. I like writing those kind of songs. They're just really simple love songs, and they're inspired by real things that happened in my life. Who's that girl, or was that one heck of a girl?
One
Was
heck of a
inspired one
girl,
day
yeah.
when I was shopping at Trader Joe's one day, and I saw this beautiful young lady. She was on the other aisle in the produce department picking out tomatoes, and I was squeezing avocados, and this other guy was squeezing cantaloupes or something like that. And we
And,
both looked up at the same time at this beautiful young lady on the other side, and she looked at us and gave us the most beautiful smile.
oh,
And then she just put her produce in the cart and pushed on down the aisle. And the guy next to me said, I'd love to be the smile on her face. And I said, yeah, she's one heck of a girl. And I went home and wrote 2 songs, Be the Smile on Your Face and One Heck of a Girl. So it comes from real life experiences.
and that was an award winner also, right? For the I am in. Am I saying that correctly? Uh,
Was it? Yeah.
Yes, it went really
yeah,
high.
congratulations on that award. And so you guys take the work that you're doing and you submit it to win these awards. And who knows how many submissions there are, and you're always rising to the top. So that word outstanding really means a lot, seeking that level of excellence and really stepping into power there, because we are all way more powerful than we realize in order to be unleashed and unstoppable. And it's just a joy to speak with you and see how, you know, we're all just people out there living in the world with our foibles and our obstacles and this and that and the other thing. But it's really having those visions and just taking those steps of action towards it again and again and again with that commitment. There really are clues that success leaves us. I'm spitting this out not very
Absolutely.
well, but success leaves clues, and that we can follow and enact in order to have that mission, that vision in our lives. And I heard a motivational speaker, Trent Shelton, this weekend, and he likened our visions to wearing our prescription glasses. Our prescription glasses are custom designed for us. They're not meant for anybody else. And I thought
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was a great analogy, to see that you've got this whisper in your heart. You've stepped into it. Oh, I see what Sammy Davis Jr. is doing. I want to do that too. And,
Yeah.
knowing what not only is possible for you, but what you've actually walked into and experienced and gifted us with is a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we get Pepper gets calls from a lot of people wanting some advice and things, and that's good. We encourage people. I said, if you have a question, if there's something we can do for you, is there somewhere we can introduce you to somebody else that might help you? I think if everybody works together, it makes you feel good, and you're going to get the results, because some of your biggest successes is going to come from somebody who introduced you to somebody else, or somebody you just met. It's not because you made an appointment and walked in and had a meeting with somebody. They're usually going to say no. You get a lot of no's wherever you go. But somebody will say, hey, I know somebody who needs this, or somebody like that. That's an opportunity. That's where a lot of this comes from. So, if there's something that we can do to help you, let us know, because that's how success is built. We help you, you help us, you help somebody else. And you know what? You feel good about it. And when you're out in the world and people can see, like, why are you so happy? Why you feel so good? It's because I make good decisions. And people are attracted to that. You become a magnet. Your energy, your vibration, if it's high enough, you're going to attract what it is you want. And when you can get your vibration and everything at that level, think about what you want and you're going to attract it. If you're going to be on a lower level, you think about what you want, you're going to attract that too. So it's important that we feel good as much as we can.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been an honor and a privilege. And honestly, Pepper J, we really haven't even dove into your career. As we're wrapping up, I would love to hear about some of the things that you've done, the projects you've worked on. And I know you are a treasure because of the Easy Way Network and Eric Zuli, and Alex and I are both thrilled to be a part of that. And, he just speaks about you with such joy in his heart. So I would love to hear a little bit about some of the things that you've done as well.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. That's very kind.
I wouldn't have a career without her because
Mm.
she takes the business. I do the creativity and all that stuff, but you got to have somebody to do all the business, do all those things, all the contacts. So you guys ever get out to Vegas much?
No, I haven't, but I'm gonna definitely put that on my list for sure.
Well, we have a ranch out here and a beautiful ranch, 5-acre ranch. When you come out to Vegas, you need to come visit us.
Yes.
I would love that. Doesn't that sound fun, Alex?
It does.
Yeah.
We can do live recording.
Yeah, that's right. We could always do that. And you guys were both born and raised in Hollywood, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were exposed to the industry from very early age, I would guess. I mean,
She was exposed a lot to it than me because she actually was involved in a lot of the business. She knew Walt Disney. Yeah.
very
Oh,
cool.
wow.
I know you're very humble, Pepper Day. We're not going to hear, but I'm telling you, this woman is amazing, and as well as you are, John Michael Ferrari, and we are so honored to have you here to introduce you to our audience, spotlight you and the work you're doing, and yeah, it's a win-win. Thank you for being here very much.
Thank you for having us on the show. It is really our pleasure, and I hope we get to meet you in person.
I hope
Do you have
so
any final
too.
words? Sorry, didn't mean to get that
Yeah.
there. I was curious if you had any final words, even Pepper J, if you have anything that you want to add for the listener today in going after what, their dream, right? Their vision and who they get to be in their leadership to create that.
I think John really did a nice job of summing it up. But, follow your heart, figure out what you want to do, and go for it. Winners take one step after another. It's perseverance. It's like, what I have to learn. What do I need to do? How do I go from here to there? Okay, let's go and try that and see. And if you change, but just being affirmative and going for it is, he knew what he wanted and I loved his music. I said, I'd like to produce that music. Let's write it. Let's do it. And we did.
Wow.
A beautiful partnership you guys both have.
Yeah. And where can we get a hold of you? How can people go find you and hear your music? Would love to know.
JohnMichaelFerrari.com.
Yeah.
JohnMichaelFerrari.com will link to all of his social media. It'll link to my page and all of my social media. There's all reviews on there that you can see, the radio charts, what's happening now, the news, the galleries. Thank you, everybody, for sending such nice pictures. And yeah, I try my best to keep up, on the website and his honors. He was Outstanding Radio Artist of the Year by the Nashville Music Award.
Wow.
Will not tell you. You could be speaking to him for an hour and never know the many, many Songwriter of the Year, Crossover Artist of the Year, the different awards that he has won. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. We're enjoying ourselves and we feel very blessed. And also, thank you so much for having us on your show.
Yeah. Delightful.
Thank you for being here. We will definitely have your links in our show notes and our podcast newsletter. We'll be producing a reel for you guys that you can share as you desire, and we'll be sharing with all of our audience on our socials. And thank you again for being here. It's been amazing because really feel the value of stepping into being unleashed and unstoppable, being limitless in our lives, and creating the full, abundant lives that we all deserve. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
And thank you to our listeners as well for tuning into another episode of Unleash Unstoppable podcast. It's been such an honor, John Michael Ferrari and Pepper Day, having you today here, sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. And yeah, it's been so beautiful getting to know you all and getting to showcase you on our podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next week, listener. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexander Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.